Hey there, you looking kinda cute. Don't forget to subscribe and check out my other socials for more. Enjoy. The warm sunlight filtered through the curtains, casting a gentle glow on John as he stood in front of the mirror, his heart pounding with a mix of excitement and trepidation. He smoothed down the silky fabric of the dress he wore, admiring how it hugged his figure in ways he never imagined possible. The soft pink hue complemented his skin tone perfectly, and he couldn't help but smile at his reflection. John had always been curious about cross-dressing, but it wasn't until after his marriage to Beth that he found the courage to explore this side of himself. At first, it was just a fleeting thought, a secret desire he kept buried deep inside. But as time passed, the urge grew stronger, and he finally decided to take the plunge. It started with small purchases, a pair of stockings here, a blouse there. He would order them online, carefully timing the deliveries to ensure Beth wouldn't be home when they arrived. Each new item brought a thrill of excitement, a rush of adrenaline as he imagined himself wearing them. As his collection grew, so did his confidence. He began trying on Beth's clothes when she was out, reveling in the feeling of soft fabrics against his skin. The mirror became his confidant, reflecting back an image of himself he had only dreamed of before. Today, however, was different. Beth had left for a girls' weekend with her friends, giving John the perfect opportunity to fully indulge in his passion. He had spent hours getting ready, carefully applying makeup and styling his hair. The result was stunning. He barely recognized himself in the mirror. John twirled, watching the skirt of the dress flare out around him. He felt beautiful, empowered, and completely at peace with himself. It was in this moment of pure joy that he heard the sound that made his blood run cold. The front door opening. His heart leapt into his throat as he heard Beth's voice call out, "John, are you home?" Panic seized him. This wasn't supposed to happen. Beth wasn't due back for another 2 days. John's mind raced, trying to come up with an explanation, an excuse, anything that could salvage the situation. But he knew it was futile. There was no hiding what he was doing. With trembling hands, John reached for the doorknob. He took a deep breath, steeling himself for what was to come. As he opened the door, he saw Beth standing in the hallway, her eyes widening as she took in his appearance. "Beth," John started, his voice shaky. "I can explain." But before he could continue, Beth held up her hand, silencing him. Her expression was unreadable, and John felt his heart sink. This was it. This was the moment he had feared since he first started exploring his desire to crossdress. To his surprise, Beth's face softened. She took a step towards him, her eyes never leaving his. "John," she said softly. "It's okay." John blinked, unsure if he had heard her correctly. "What?" Beth smiled, reaching out to take his hand. "I said it's okay. I've known for a while now." You knew?" John stammered, his mind struggling to process this information. "But how?" "I noticed the little things," Beth explained. "The way you looked at my clothes, the mysterious packages that arrived when I wasn't home. At first, I wasn't sure what to think, but then I realized how happy you seemed lately. I didn't want to confront you about it because I knew you'd tell me when you were ready." John felt a wave of relief wash over him, followed quickly by confusion. "You're not angry?" Beth shook her head, her smile growing wider. "Of course not. You're my husband, and I love you, all of you, including this part of you." Tears welled up in John's eyes as the weight of his secret lifted from his shoulders. He had been so afraid of this moment, so certain that it would be the end of his marriage. Instead, he found acceptance and love. Beth squeezed his hand gently. "Come with me," she said, leading him towards their bedroom. "I have something for you." John followed, his mind still reeling from the unexpected turn of events. As they entered the bedroom, he noticed a large, gift-wrapped box sitting on the bed. He looked at Beth questioningly. "Go on," she encouraged. "Open it." With shaking hands, John approached the box. He carefully untied the ribbon and lifted the lid, gasping at what he saw inside. It was a stunning evening gown, midnight blue with delicate silver embroidery. Beside it lay a matching pair of heels, a wig styled in elegant waves, and a complete set of accessories. "Beth," John whispered, overcome with emotion. "I don't know what to say." Beth wrapped her arms around him from behind, resting her chin on his shoulder. "You don't have to say anything. I want you to feel free to be yourself, all of yourself, with me." John turned in her arms, tears streaming down his face. "I love you so much," he said, his voice thick with emotion. Beth reached up, gently wiping away his tears. "I love you too. Now, why don't we get you changed into this beautiful dress? I think it's time for a proper girl's day out." John's eyes widened. "You mean—" Beth nodded, her eyes twinkling with excitement. "Yes, I want to take you out, show you off. But first, we need to give you a name. What do you think about Emma?" John, now Emma, felt a thrill run through her at the sound of her new name. "Emma," she repeated, testing it out. "I love it." Beth clapped her hands together, grinning. "Perfect. Now let's get you ready, Emma. We have a fabulous day ahead of us." The next few hours were a flurry of activity as Beth helped Emma get ready. They giggled like schoolgirls as Beth zipped up the dress, adjusting it to fit perfectly. Emma marveled at how natural it felt, how right. Beth styled the wig, creating soft waves that framed Emma's face beautifully. She then set about doing Emma's makeup, her expert hands transforming John's masculine features into a vision of femininity. As Emma slipped on the heels, she felt a surge of confidence. She stood tall, admiring her reflection in the full-length mirror. The woman staring back at her was everything she had ever dreamed of being. "You look absolutely stunning," Beth said, standing beside her. She was dressed in a complimentary outfit, a sleek black dress that hugged her curves. Emma turned to her wife, overcome with gratitude. "Thank you, Beth, for everything. I never imagined this day would come, let alone that it would be like this." Beth leaned in, kissing Emma's cheek softly. "You deserve to be happy, my love. Now, are you ready for our adventure?" Emma nodded, excitement bubbling up inside her. "Where are we going?" "I thought we'd start with lunch at that new bistro downtown," Beth said, linking her arm through Emma's. "Then maybe some shopping, a walk in the park, and dinner at that rooftop restaurant you've been wanting to try." As they left the house, Emma felt a moment of panic. What if someone recognized her? What if they were judged or harassed? Beth, sensing her hesitation, squeezed her hand reassuringly. "Don't worry, Emma. We're just two beautiful women out for a day on the town. Anyone who can't see that doesn't matter." Emboldened by Beth's words, Emma took a deep breath and stepped out into the world. The sun warmed her face, and a light breeze played with the hem of her dress. She felt alive, vibrant, and truly herself for the first time in her life. Their first stop was the bistro, a charming little place with outdoor seating. As they were led to their table, Emma noticed a few appreciative glances from other patrons. Instead of making her uncomfortable, it filled her with a sense of pride. They ordered a bottle of champagne to celebrate, toasting to new beginnings and unconditional love. As they sipped their drinks, Beth reached across the table, taking Emma's hand in hers. "I'm so proud of you," she said softly. "You look radiant." Emma blushed, still getting used to receiving compliments as a woman. "I couldn't have done this without you," she replied. "You've given me the greatest gift anyone could ask for, acceptance." Their lunch was filled with laughter and intimate conversation. Emma found herself opening up about her journey, sharing thoughts and feelings she had kept bottled up for years. Beth listened attentively, asking questions and offering support. After lunch, they strolled hand in hand down the bustling street, window shopping and people watching. Emma was amazed at how different the world looked from this perspective. She noticed details she had never paid attention to before, the way other women carried themselves, the subtle interplay of fashion and confidence. They stopped at a boutique that caught Emma's eye. Beth insisted on buying her a few outfits, helping her choose pieces that flattered her figure and matched her style. The saleswoman was friendly and helpful, offering advice on sizes and cuts without a hint of judgment. As Emma tried on dress after dress, she felt a sense of euphoria. This was more than just playing dress-up. It was an expression of her true self. Each new outfit was a revelation, a piece of a puzzle she hadn't known was missing. After the shopping spree, they made their way to the park. The afternoon sun filtered through the leaves, casting dappled shadows on the path. Emma reveled in the feeling of the gentle breeze against her skin, the swish of her skirt around her legs. They found a secluded bench near a small pond, sitting close together as they watched ducks glide across the water. Emma rested her head on Beth's shoulder, feeling a profound sense of peace. "Thank you for today," Emma said softly. "I never imagined I could feel this free." Beth wrapped an arm around her, pulling her close. "You deserve to feel this way all the time, Emma. I want you to know that you can be yourself with me, always. Whether that's John or Emma or anyone in between." Emma lifted her head, meeting Beth's gaze. "How did I get so lucky to have you as my wife?" Beth smiled, her eyes twinkling. "I think we're both pretty lucky, don't you?" As the afternoon wore on, they decided to head to the rooftop restaurant for dinner. The sun was just beginning to set as they arrived, painting the sky in brilliant hues of orange and pink. The maitre d' greeted them warmly, escorting them to a table with a breathtaking view of the city. Emma couldn't help but feel a thrill as she was addressed as Madame and had her chair pulled out for her. They ordered a bottle of wine and perused the menu, occasionally reaching across the table to hold hands. The atmosphere was romantic, with soft music playing and candles flickering on each table. As they waited for their food, Beth raised her glass in a toast. "To Emma," she said, her voice filled with love and pride. "May this be the first of many beautiful days to come." Emma clinked her glass against Beth's, feeling tears prick at her eyes. "And to you, my love, for being the most incredible, understanding wife a person could ask for." Their dinner was exquisite, but Emma found herself more captivated by the company than the food. She and Beth talked for hours, sharing dreams and making plans for the future. Emma spoke about her desire to explore this side of herself more, and Beth enthusiastically supported her, offering ideas and suggestions. As the night drew to a close, they decided to take a leisurely walk home, enjoying the cool evening air and the twinkling city lights. Emma's feet were starting to ache from the heels, but she didn't mind. Every step was a reminder of this magical day. When they reached their front door, Beth turned to Emma with a mischievous smile. "So, Mrs. Emma," she said, her voice playful, "did you enjoy our first date?" Emma laughed, the sound light and carefree. "It was perfect," she replied. "Though I'm not sure it counts as a first date when we're already married." Beth winked. "Who says married couples can't have first dates, especially when one of them is introducing a whole new side of herself?" As they entered the house, Emma felt a momentary pang of sadness. Did this mean the day was over? Would she have to go back to being just John? Sensing her hesitation, Beth took her hand. "Hey," she said softly. "What's wrong?" Emma sighed. I don't want this to end. I've never felt so comfortable, so much like myself." Beth's expression softened. "Oh, sweetheart, this doesn't have to end. This is just the beginning." She led Emma to the bedroom, where she helped her carefully remove the wig and dress. As Emma wiped off her makeup, Beth disappeared into the closet, returning with a silky nightgown. "I got this for you," she said, holding it out. "I thought you might like something pretty to sleep in." Emma took the nightgown, running her fingers over the soft fabric. "Beth, you've thought of everything. I don't know how to thank you." Beth pulled her into a tender embrace. "You don't need to thank me. Seeing you happy is all the thanks I need." As they settled into bed, Emma in her new nightgown and Beth in her usual pajamas, A thought occurred to Emma. "Beth," she said hesitantly, "how often... would it be okay if..." Beth propped herself up on one elbow, looking at Emma with understanding. "Emma, my love, you can be yourself whenever you want. If you want to dress up every day, that's fine. If you want to save it for special occasions, that's fine too. We'll figure it out together." Emma felt a wave of relief wash over her. "I love you so much," she whispered, snuggling closer to Beth. Beth kissed her forehead gently. "I love you too. All of you." As Emma drifted off to sleep, she felt a sense of excitement for the future. This wasn't just a one-time experience. It was the beginning of a new chapter in her life. With Beth by her side, she felt ready to explore this part of herself fully, to embrace both John and Emma as integral parts of who she was. The next morning, Emma woke to the smell of coffee and pancakes. She stretched languidly, reveling in the feel of the silky nightgown against her skin. For a moment, she wondered if the previous day had been a dream, but the unfamiliar sensation of long hair brushing her shoulders confirmed it had all been real. She padded downstairs, finding Beth in the kitchen, humming as she flipped pancakes. Beth turned at the sound of Emma's footsteps, her face lighting up with a warm smile. "Good morning, beautiful," Beth said, crossing the kitchen to plant a soft kiss on Emma's cheek. "Did you sleep well?" Emma nodded, wrapping her arms around Beth's waist. "Better than I have in years," she admitted. "Thank you again for yesterday. It was magical." Beth hugged her tightly before returning to the stove. "I'm glad you enjoyed it. I was thinking we could have a lazy day in today if you'd like. Maybe watch some movies, do each other's nails?" Emma felt a surge of affection for her wife. Even now, Beth was going out of her way to make her feel comfortable and accepted. "That sounds perfect," she said, pouring herself a cup of coffee. As they ate breakfast, they discussed their plans for the day. Beth suggested they could experiment with different makeup looks, and Emma eagerly agreed. She was excited to learn more about the art of feminizing her features. After breakfast, they settled in the living room. Beth had pulled out a large makeup case and several fashion magazines. "I thought we could look through these for inspiration," she explained, spreading the magazines out on the coffee table. Emma picked up one of the glossy publications, flipping through the pages with interest. She pointed out styles she liked, and Beth made notes, occasionally offering suggestions based on what she thought would suit Emma's coloring and bone structure. As they looked through the magazines, Emma felt a question bubbling up inside her. She hesitated, unsure how to broach the subject, but Beth's open and loving demeanor gave her courage. "Beth," she began, setting down the magazine.
"I was wondering, how did you become so knowledgeable about all this? The makeup, the clothes, even how to style a wig. It seems like you've done this before."
Beth's expression turned thoughtful. She was quiet for a moment, and Emma worried she had overstepped. But then Beth smiled, reaching out to take Emma's hand. "You're right," she said softly. "I have done this before. My younger brother came out as transgender when we were teenagers. I helped him through his transition, learned everything I could to support him." Emma's eyes widened in surprise. "I had no idea," she said. "You've never mentioned having a brother." Beth's smile turned sad. "He passed away a few years before we met. Car accident. It was hard. We were very close." Emma squeezed Beth's hand, her heart aching for her wife's loss. "I'm so sorry, Beth. That must have been devastating." Beth nodded, wiping away a tear that had escaped. "It was. But helping him, seeing how happy he was when he could finally be himself, it taught me so much about love, acceptance, the importance of being true to yourself." She looked up, meeting Emma's gaze. "When I started to suspect that you might be interested in cross-dressing, it brought back a lot of memories. Good ones. I knew that if this was something you wanted to explore, I wanted to be there for you just like I was for my brother." Emma felt overwhelmed with emotion. She pulled Beth into a tight embrace, feeling tears prick at her own eyes. "Thank you for sharing that with me," she whispered. "And thank you for being so incredibly supportive." Beth hugged her back just as tightly. "Always," she promised. "Now, how about we start with a little makeup lesson?" Thanks for watching. Check out Patreon if you want to have early access to the other parts. If not, it will be online in a couple of days.